Our aging population is rapidly growing. This demographic has important implications for healthcare systems around the world. While millions of seniors receive safe and effective healthcare every day, numerous patient safety studies have consistently demonstrated that older patients are at an increased risk of experiencing an adverse event that's related to some aspect of their healthcare while they're in hospital. One of the challenges in managing this risk is developing methods to identify when an adverse event has actually occurred. For some types of adverse events, these methods are well developed. Take, for instance, hospital-acquired infections. But this isn't the case for all types of adverse events. Think for a minute about your own hospital. On any given day, are you able to identify all of those patients who develop a pressure ulcer while they're in hospital? It can be really challenging. There are many approaches to monitoring adverse events in healthcare today. Some include incident reporting systems, patient safety indicators, quality reviews, morbidity and mortality rounds. No one approach is necessarily complete or ideal. Each approach has got its strengths and its limitations. Our study examines one particular approach to identifying adverse events: use of diagnosis codes found in routinely collected administrative hospitalization data. We sought to validate three types of adverse events for patients who are 65 and older admitted to acute care, and we used ICD-10 diagnosis codes. We chose hospital-acquired pressure ulcers, fall-related injuries, and adverse drug events, because these are types of adverse events that older patients are more likely to experience, and there are gaps in measurement. Now, the results of the study were quite encouraging, although we do recognize that this particular approach is going to underestimate the true extent of the problem. But nevertheless, there are some important advantages to considering the addition of this approach to an overall integrated monitoring strategy. It's relatively less costly. It involves minimal impact to the very busy frontline staff. The information that you gather from this approach can complement what is known from other data sources that may have more clinical detail. And finally, it permits population-based analysis, which helps in our understanding of risk factors and both system and individual level impact. For example, what is the effect of an adverse event on hospital length of stay, disposition, and costs? In fact, this is the direction of the next phase of our research. Regardless of the approach that's taken, it is imperative that we come up with robust and cost-effective monitoring mechanisms so that we can work together to improve the patient safety for what is arguably a very vulnerable aging population. We welcome any feedback or questions you may have about our research, and on behalf of my co-investigators, Dr. Susan Bowles and Lori Giffin, I'd like to thank you for your interest in our work.